What's up, everyone? Today's YouTube video on our episode to the World Championships to Hawaii. I've got 3 tournaments to report today, 2 league challenges and a Leite Cup. And today's story is going to be about a little bit like the video is going to be about how I don't always do really well. I know I've been having a little bit of a hot streak, but I'm going to talk to you guys about, sometimes where I don't do as well and what happens. And how I feel, stuff like that. As a player, you should also all experience your highs and lows. A really interesting Leite Cup that I broke the entire tournament software, and things got really kind of crazy. So I'll explain that. I don't really know the resolution to that yet, so it's a little bit of a limbo story. Don't have too much. It'll be a lot of fun to talk about. And then, a couple of points got put on the board. We had a good weekend, and I'm sitting pretty. So welcome, everyone. My name is Rahul Reddy. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to be talking about my road to the World Championships in Hawaii. The decks that I play for each tournament, I like to document them here for you guys and myself in the future to think about and evaluate as a player, as a human being, whatever. And this is the season that we're going to talk about every single tournament I play that is for championship points and how I performed. So this Thursday, I had a league challenge at the store called The Guild. Small store, it has a cap of like 16. So I knew ahead of time that I wanted to be there. I wanted to play that store, like a low cap. It's in the mall. It's a Thursday challenge, so like not too many people are going to pull up. I show up early, sign up, get in there. Zard has been kind of dominating recently, and my local area has been playing a lot of Zard, a lot of Lost Box. So I figured, Urshifu seems like a great play while everyone's still playing 60 HP Charmander, 60 HP Pidgeys. I can show up with Urshifu, cheese a couple wins, call it a day. And, I sleeved it up, my old faithful, and I show up. There's about 17 masters. So we're playing 4 rounds at this league challenge. Thursday night, typical. 4 rounds is a little bit low, but it is what it is. Round 1, I hit Morgan, who's playing Lost Box, and it's going pretty favorably for me. I research into an end game position where I'm literally just looking for a retrieval to basically get into a double gunner play, into a yoga loop to win the game, and I missed the retrieval, which kind of sucks. And so I have to end up retreating into like Alakazam or something and passing. I do have rope, and Morgan's like last couple cards, he's able to use a combination of Greninja and 2 flower selectings to see the rest of his deck and go into a position where he has Raikou Sky Seal Stone. Didn't know that was in this deck, and a boss to close out the game. Super unfortunate for me, but it is what it is. Sky Seal Stone got me in the end. My Inteleon gave up 4 prizes, and I lost the first round. The second round, I went up against our only junior there, and she was playing Lost Box, but she didn't really get the idea of how the Urshifu decks works. So we kind of just had a little bit of a more fun game where I kind of explained to her how the concept of the deck works. I was able to, rapid flow a couple times, just set up a little bit of a non-game, but, there's always going to be a couple juniors and seniors, and the big thing to keep in mind when you're at these tournaments is to be friendly to them, to help them learn, to be nurturing more than anything, and please don't be, like, salty and like rude to them if you lose. Like they're also there to play, so come on. I do end up taking it, and we end up having like a good conversation. It's a lot of fun. Great kid. And then we end up going into round 3 where I hit Lostina and my opponent kind of turbo bricks. And I get like the loop playoff on the Manaphy. Like everything is perfect. I always have an answer to path. My artillery lives for way too long. And I end up just taking the game. Round 4, I go up against Atina once again. If I win, I get top 4 points. If I lose, I get nothing. I end up going into the round. The game comes absolutely down to the wire. I don't remember the exact details of how it went down, but I needed to find a way to, I think, like bring up, like I had a position where I think it was like unwinnable for me, and I had to like rope and hope he made a mistake and brought up the wrong Pokemon, because he had 1 switching card left or something like that. But he just didn't do that, and it ended up just being like one of those situations where it's like, I can't do anything, my start was way too slow, and he got a good Star Requiem off, plus like a Sableye to put damage on my board already, so I can't really do anything from here. So I ended up losing that. 2-2 was my final result, not the result we were hoping for. No championship points on the board. A disappointing finish, but it happens. Have a lot of fun, meet up with the locals, make friends while you're early challenges. Like I got to have some good banter with people, and you get to let your personality out a little bit. The next day, I had a Leite Cup at Player One Services. This is the tournament where the tournament software inadvertently broke. 6-round tournament. I decided to stick with Lugia Single Strike, playing the same 60 from Pittsburgh. I just didn't change a card. It's still built in my car. Did not change anything about it. And so I rock in. First round, I hit Lost Box Zard. not Zardiax, just regular Lost Box Zard, and he just kind of turbo bricks. It's like Sableye, he goes Comfy, attach, he uses Flower Selector and retreats into Sableye pass, like going second, and then I just killed the Sableye, and then he does it, he Comfies again, and then just passes, and I just knock it out, and the game ends. The second round, I hit Zardiax, and this round, my opponent, I take out the first Zard, and I'm like in a lot of trouble. Like I don't really know how to close out the game from here because I've taken 3 prizes, but in my mind I'm thinking I have to boss like his Luminion or his Entei and take that one out, and then I have to like use my last boss to kill like something small on the bench if he doesn't bump it. And he prized 2 Charmanders, so the game just actually ended on the spot, which was like kind of crazy. He just conceded, and I was like, whoa, okay, all right. So 2-0. Round 3, I go up against Kyogre, and my opponent actually kind of just like starts like playing a lot of resources willy-nilly. Like I see the 2 rods are both gone. A recycler is gone. I see 2 energy in the loss zone. I'm counting everything, and I'm like, I don't think my opponent has enough gas to close out the game with Kyogre. And so I start thinking I have to just aggressively Cragalanche because they like lost zone to Cramorant, they like lost zone something else, and I'm like, they're just out of attackers that aren't Kyogre, and I think they're tunnel visioning on the Kyogre. So I go into the T-Tar with a V-Guard, and I Cragalanche, and I hit Kyogre and an energy, and I'm like, wow, that could have got any better. And my opponent like keeps playing the game, but I just Crag 2 more times, and I hit like a gate on the next one and like switch cart, and I'm like, wow, this is just going really, really well. And then I Crag again. This time it's like VIP pass, chorus, but at this point he doesn't even need the chorus. And I count everything, and I'm like, unless he plays 3rd rod, he has to have 4th gate, final switch cart, recycler, and rod to win the game. And he tells me right then that he only plays 2 rod, so the game does end, and I take it at 3-0. Round 4 is where everything gets a little bit wonky, and I get paired into a matchup I should not be paired into. There's 4 3-0s, so all 4 3-0s should be paired into each other, and I get paired into a 2-1. Morgan from Thursday, playing the same 60 he was playing before, I believe. And I'm like, hey, Morgan, we shouldn't be playing. I'm going to go complain. The TO, everyone's like, hey, pairings are pairings. Like, we can't change anything about it. You go in there and play. And I'm like, something's not right about this. So we end up playing the round. And then I go over after the round, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take a look at the software? We talk about it. We call a couple of people. Anyone who helped me out, by the way, like that I reached out to, thank you so much on the judging side. Like, it's definitely an issue that none of us have seen before. So it turns out if you're running Tom, the software, with 2 instances of 2 different tournaments at the same time, meaning TCG and Go were running at the same time. There's a Go Cup. It randomly took 4 players from the TCG Cup and put them into Go, but they weren't showing in the Go pairings. They were still showing in the TCG pairings, so it was like some weird limbo that existed that shouldn't have been there. And then this created pairings that shouldn't have existed for round 4 specifically. And then the Go Cup kind of got closed out. They finished up. They only had like 3 rounds. So they were done. They were out of there. And then round 5 paired normally. Like everything paired normally. The 4-0s hit each other. I got moved back to the Masters Division from being a Pokemon Go player for 1 round. My 1 round of Pokemon Go, guys. Undefeated 1-0, baby. Let's get it. I did hit Morgan, and I like played it. And he was playing Lost Box. And this time around, I knew the Sky Seal Stone existed. So I just collapsed away my Lugia V-Star pretty early on. And I just used T-Tar, Yveltal, Stone Jordanar, and like T-Tar as single prize attackers with Penny to just kind of win the game. And Morgan didn't really have a chance. But yeah, this happens, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. I don't really like how this is going. Top Cut kind of boils around. I make it at double ID. I'm in at 2nd seed. First round, I hit Evan Thomas, who is playing a really interesting build of Lost Box. It's got like 3 reversals, 2 Luxray, a Wo Chien. And the first game, I don't expect the Luxray. And he almost takes the game off me because he goes Luxray, reversal, Roxanne. And I'm like, oh, that is not good. But I had already taken 3 prizes with Lugia. So it kind of felt like it didn't matter because he hadn't taken a prize yet. And I had taken 3 with Lugia. So he takes 2 with Luxray. And then I just go Stone Journal, which is already on my bench, for 1. And then he has to go like Luxray again into my Stone Journal, which I didn't feel like he had because I already saw 2 reversals. And then he lost into 3rd. And I was like, whoa, there's no way there was 3. And so, yeah, I end up winning game 1. And then game 2, Evan opens Wo Chien, which just kind of is like really unfortunate for them. And I just win because of that, because like I just got like a free 2 prizes at any point I wanted. Top 4 hit Brennan, who ends up winning the cup, playing Zard, Pidgeot, Arvin. First game, Brennan sets up perfectly. Can't really do much about it. The second game, Brennan ends up getting himself a prize penalty for just bad ordering, seeing extra cards. two things at once. It was like I think he drew before promoted, as well as like saw a third card off of some search that he shouldn't have been doing. And so it just was a culmination of prize penalty that just lost Brennan game 2. Game 3, I have a terrible setup. Brennan has a great setup, but I count everything and I'm in a position where I can hit into Brennan's Zard. I have to Iono him to 3. I killed the Pidgeot the turn before. I have to say you won't find Candy Zard this turn or Choice Belt. He finds the Arven and I'm like, oh no, man, he's got the Choice Belt. I lose the game. Doesn't find the Choice Belt. It's prized. But he does find Candy Zard, so he can retreat this damage Zard into a clean Zard and hit into me. My Lugia for 270. And now I only have one boss remaining because I had to discard a boss turn 1. And I bossed that turn to bring up the Zard. Or sorry, to kill the Pidgeot the turn before. So now I was hoping I would be able to take 2 shots on this Zard and then just use my Lugia to win the game by bossing or Lugia or a single strike attacker to just win the game by bossing up a Manaphy, and that's not the case. So then I count all of Brandon's resources. I count 7 fires. I don't see a rope or a rod. So my only hope is to stick his 2 prize attacker in the active, Cragalanche, and hope that I hit rod or rope, and the other one is prized because Brandon still has like 5 prizes remaining. And I hit the rod, and I'm like, yes, okay, that's his last piece. Now we're just draw passing back and forth for a couple turns. Like I have no cards I can play. He has no cards he can play. And then he benches a Pidgey, and I'm like, okay, this is not good. And then he does Candy. He goes Arven, Candy, Pidgeot. And I'm like, oh my god, that's all 4 candies. That's crazy. Like Candy could have been one of his last 5 prizes. Pidgeot could have been one of his last 5 prizes. Rope could have been one of his last 5 prizes. Boss could have been one of his last 5 prizes. I win the game. These are all like his last counts. Brandon ends up not prizing any of these pieces. And the next turn, he Pidgeots for the rope, Luminians for the boss, brings up my last attacker effectively with energy, and I lose the game. But in another world where he doesn't find those pieces, I think it's a very winnable game. But I was like pretty upset that I lost a game that I think should have been mine because Brennan poorly mismanaged his resources to put himself in that spot. And I think he got bailed out by the fact that Zard is such a powerful deck. And that's just speaking of the power of Zard. Like, it's just a very insanely powerful deck. It's an insane card. Like, I think it's very, very cool. It's very good. Pidgeot's an insanely good card. So, obviously, disappointed with my top 4 finish. Would have liked the finals for sure. But, you know, I have no one to blame but myself. I could have played a little bit better, I think. I could have played... maybe look for a different line to try to win that game. Maybe Crag wasn't the only play. Maybe I just take the prizes and like see where it takes me. But I don't know. I definitely feel like I could have done something differently to try to win that game. I just didn't get there, you know. So it kind of just sucks to be in that position. But yeah, day's done. Pack it up. Go next. League challenge the next day. This day, I decide, you know, I don't like losing to Zard. I'm putting Cobalion in my deck. So I go get this guy, put him into my deck. And Penny was kind of useless throughout all the tournament. So I just put a Jet energy in there because I felt like I was running out of energy pretty quickly. So a Jet seemed pretty reasonable to make that equivalent exchange. And I run into the challenge. It's a pretty easy, swift challenge. I hit Justin Brown round 1. He's playing Chantellion. I don't get a Lugia onto the bench till turn 3 or 4. And I still end up winning the game because the matchup is just so favorable. Round 2, I hit Jin Wheels. He's also playing Chantellion. I actually almost lose the game because of a Giacomo. And my last 2 prizes were Boss and Single Strike Energy. And I need either of those to just win the game on the spot. But because of the Giacomo play, I had like literally to hope that my Lugia can survive a hit. With my last energy, he doesn't play Boss. If he plays Boss, he just boss my Arc Outs and I can't attack or retreat or do anything anymore. And I have 1 urn left to, I guess, get to 3 on Titar, but that's not what I need. I need to get to a 4th energy, so I'm just like, oh my god, I'm going to lose to Giacomo. But then he concedes because he doesn't have anything going for him. I'm just now aggressively not Crag. I'm just swinging, and I'm like, dude, please don't have anything. Your stadiums are all gone. I boss killed your artillery, like you have nothing, and then it ended up working out. So I got bailed out by the matchup just being favorable for Lugia. And then round 3, I end up hitting Gabriel, and he's playing Zard Arven stuff as well, like similar to Brandon from yesterday, and I played him yesterday at the Cup as well, so I kind of knew he was still sticking with Zard. And the game came down to the point where I had to find my last urn, and I had the Cobalion already in play, and the gift energy procs, and I draw 5 off the gift, and I do see the urn, so it's a perfect ending to my league challenge, and I end up taking 15 points, putting it on the board, putting me at 349 right now. A really good spot for myself. I don't know if these... I think Lugia is still a very strong deck moving forward, but I think your Zard matchup is still not good with the Cobalion, so I take that with a grain of salt. That all being said, thank you guys for watching. As always, please like and subscribe. It means a ton to me. And until the next episode of Rahul's Road to Hawaii.